So you've got a product owner interview coming up. And yeah, it can be pretty stressful, right? You need to be sharp, you need to be precise, and you've got to be ready for whatever they throw at you. So let's just cut to the chase. In this explainer, we're going to break down the key things you have to master so you can walk in there and deliver confident answers that will make you stand out. I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? There's so much pressure to show not just what you know from a textbook, but how you think. It's all about proving you really get the why behind everything you do. So let's start with the absolute foundation of the entire role. Okay, so the first thing you absolutely have to nail down is your core mission. Everything, and I mean everything a product owner does, every single decision flows from this one central idea.
Now, this right here, this isn't just some fluffy corporate speak. This is your job description, pulled straight from the Scrum Guide. You are a value maximizer. This phrase is your anchor. It's the answer to almost any question they can ask you. But it does lead to a pretty obvious follow-up, doesn't it?
Exactly. I mean, anyone can throw that phrase around in an interview, but being able to explain what it truly means in practice, well, that's what separates the great candidates from the good ones. See, it's not about just shipping more and more features. It's about making a real strategic impact. Maximizing value is a huge balancing act. You've got to look way beyond just building the thing. You have to think about the total cost of ownership. That's the whole shebang: development, operations, maintenance, everything. Something that's cheap to build now might be a nightmare to maintain later, and that just destroys value. And here's the most crucial part. You can't create value in a vacuum. You have to get your product out there, frequently, to real customers and validate your assumptions. Their feedback is the ultimate compass for what's valuable. Okay, let's move on to your most important tool. If your mission is maximizing value, then the product backlog is the instrument you use to make it a reality. And your control over this tool is, well, it's absolute. There are two words here you really gotta latch onto: emergent and ordered. Emergent just means the backlog is a living, breathing thing. It's always changing as we learn more. And ordered? Well, that's your number one job. Constantly curating this list to make sure the team is always working on the next most valuable thing. And this quote, this one is huge. It really gets to the core of your authority as a product owner. In an interview, you've got to show you understand that when it comes to the product backlog, the buck stops with you. There's no committee, no voting. This isn't about being on a power trip. It's about having crystal clear accountability. So let's break that down. What does that authority actually mean? Well, first off, you and only you are the one responsible for ordering it. Sure, you can delegate the work of managing it, but at the end of the day, the accountability is all yours. Second, it's a living document that you can change anytime new information pops up. And third, and this is a big one, the entire organization, all the way up to the CEO, has to respect your decisions about what's in it and in what order. Okay, so how do you actually decide what goes at the top of the list? An interviewer might try to trip you up here by asking about specific techniques, like value points or something. Your best answer isn't just to name a technique. It's to say that your decision is always guided by one simple question. What is the most valuable thing we can do right now to get us closer to our product goal? The goal is what matters most. All right, so we've covered your mission, value, and your tool, the backlog. But, you're not working alone in a dark room. A massive part of being a product owner is managing the human element, your relationship with your team and your stakeholders. Now, this is a super common point of confusion, and it can be a real interview trap. You need to know the difference between just getting stakeholder feedback and the official sprint review. Think of it like this. Stakeholder feedback is a constant stream of information you're gathering all the time. The sprint review, on the other hand, is the formal summit at the end of every single sprint. It's where you all get together to inspect the actual working product and adapt your plan based on that. You need both to succeed. Okay, get ready for this one because it's a classic. An interviewer is almost guaranteed to ask this to check if you really get how a Scrum team works. Who is actually responsible for creating the definition of done? Your answer here shows whether you understand how quality is really built into the process. So the answer here is actually pretty straightforward. It's like a two-step process. First, you check if the organization already has a standard definition of done. If it does, that's your minimum bar. But
If there isn't one, then the entire Scrum team works together to create one for the product. And that's the key part. It's a team effort. It involves you, the Scrum Master, and the developers all agreeing on what done really means. All right, let's switch gears. We've talked theory, but what about the real world? Interviewers want to know how you handle tough situations. So let's do a quick fire round of some common scenarios they might throw at you. Okay, first up, the developers come to you mid-sprint and say, hey, we're not going to hit our forecast. It happens all the time, right? Complexity pops up, things go wrong. So what do you do? The key here is one word: collaboration. This isn't the time for blame or finger pointing. You work with the developers to renegotiate the scope of the sprint backlog. Your North Star is always the sprint goal. You protect that goal, even if it means you have to adjust which specific items get done to achieve it. It's a team effort. Okay, next scenario. You're out sick for a day, or you get pulled into some last-minute emergency meeting. Does everything just stop? Does the team just sit there waiting for you? The answer has to be a hard no. If everything grinds to a halt because you're not there, you don't have a truly self-managing team. The developers are empowered to make the best decisions they can to keep moving towards the sprint goal. Progress doesn't stop. They make the call, and you sync up when you're back. That's the sign of a really healthy Scrum team. The dreaded technical debt. Every interviewer loves this question because they want to see if you get the business side of it, not just the techie side. They want to know if you understand its impact. So, when you answer this, you have to connect it back to our magic word, value. You got to show that you understand that tech debt isn't just a developer problem, it's a product problem. It directly hurts your ability to deliver value because it makes everything slower and more expensive to maintain. And really, this brings everything full circle, back to where we started. After all the meetings, the planning, and the artifacts, how do you actually know if you're winning? It's not your team's velocity. It's not how many story points you completed. The one true measure of success is the value your product is delivering to real customers out in the real world. I'll leave you with this one last question, which honestly is the perfect way to frame your entire mindset going into this interview. Are you there to manage a feature factory, just churning out stuff? Or are you a strategic leader, relentlessly focused on delivering real, impactful value? Go in there with that mindset and you're going to do great.